Well, welcome back to Pocketing Eights, guys. I'm Connor, and today we are taking a look at some Legend Billiards products. And what you can see I've got in front of me is one of the first of three. This is their travel case, basically. So I'll start opening this up, and we will kind of show you what this entire case has to offer. Now, with this being a travel case, should be able to put your cues in there. So the first big pouch that we're going to be opening up is going to be the case storage or whatever you'd like to fit in here. So I'm able to fit two cases inside of here. I've got a J Flowers case and then one of my Raven cases. And then we'll be able to take a nice little sneak peek at one of the cues that they sent over to me. Got the little soft cue case here. And we got some hair from my girlfriend in here apparently. But as you can see, it has a nice big open space here with some padding to support whatever you're kind of putting in here, make sure it's not getting damaged. But it is a pretty durable material from what I can tell and have been using it. So this guy zips up on either side. When you open this, it is a butterfly style case, so it is soft. There's no hard ridges or anything in here. One thing that I'll zoom in here in a second, but we have the zippers with the two openings here, so you can actually put a little lock on this. So that is what made me kind of think of this as being a travel case, especially if you're going out of state, taking some flights or something. That's pretty cool to have. Now we have storage on both the front and the back side of this. We'll take a look at the front side first. So we've got two very large pouches on either side. And what I've been using this for is carrying around some of my filming equipment. I've got my scale, I've got my micrometer, my tape measure, and some cue rollers, but very, very large storage pouch here. And we'll take a couple measurements actually. So it looks like we're measuring about 9.5 at the widest if you really kind of force it. Otherwise, we're sitting about 8 inches wide on this pocket and this pocket. The length of this guy is about 12 inches, so sitting right around a foot, and then the depth of the pouch is somewhere between anywhere from 2 inches to 3 inches, depending on how much you stuff inside of here. And then you've got these reinforced stitching spots where you could put like carabiners or something to kind of mount on the outside of this. These zippers are really nice with these little finger grab pieces. I don't know what you want to call them, but then we'll move over to the center pouch. You can see we've got some bungee webbing across the front. Not entirely sure you'd want to use it for, but you could probably put some stuff up there in the front. We have two separate sides on each, which are little sliver slots. So I've got a couple things in here. I got a tip tool, and then on this other side, this is where I put my magic racks, and we'll be using that here in a minute. But these pouches go in, I'd say about 5 to 6 inches to the center of this, and they both kind of meet right perfectly in the middle. The entire length of this pocket is about 16.5 inches, could be 17 if you really kind of stretch it out. And then the depth is going to be almost identical. It looks like this pouch is actually a little bit bigger. This might be, it's probably closer to 3 inches. So one of the cool things that I did kind of test out in my traveling back to Illinois to go back and see some family and do some tournaments there is I actually traveled with this case, and you can fit a whole set of balls in here inside their case. So nice, huge, big pocket storage here that you could put cue balls in or really whatever you kind of want. And then on the inside, there is a zipper that you can put some more stuff in here. This is where I'm putting some of my camera gear when I'm going out to do this. And I apologize for not really being able to do some videos recently. I've been going through a lot with switching jobs and work and just finding free time. And then the only other thing I got slapped in here is some of my cue mid extensions, and then the little pouch actually for one of my other cases. As you can see, this thing can hold a lot. And then we got some chalk and some gloves. And that will basically wrap it up for this front side. So a lot of storage options here in the front along with the inside, but then you flip it over and you still got more stuff on the back. Now this pouch is even bigger than the front one. Now this is coming in roughly around 22 inches lengthwise, and then I'd say close to 12 to 14 inches wide, depending on how full you have this. But I was able to put a couple pieces of clothing in here, so like some pants and some of my pool jerseys. But there's no extra storage on in here. This is just kind of a zip-up pouch that is really, really large. I like it for putting some spare jerseys or clothing in there. And then you got the two backpack straps here on the back. They come unbuckled with these clips, plastic clips. Very comfortable straps, and especially with the amount of weight that kind of gets put in here, it's anywhere from, I would say, close to like 20 to 40 pounds, depending on what you're carrying around. But that is the travel case. So far, within the last week or so that I've been kind of testing this out and getting this ready for review, I've really enjoyed using this, especially going out of state or traveling a little bit further. But even for me purposely of just being able to put my camera equipment in here is really helping me out. But we'll set this aside, and then we're going to take a closer look at one of these bad boys that Legend sent over. We've got a break cue and a jump cue to take a look at. Okay, now we have both of the cues that were sent over to me, and what we are looking at here is Legend's break cue and Legend's jump cue. These are both really cool designs, and I actually really like the shape of the jump cue handle. And then we do have two shafts. Now, I have been testing this stuff out for about a week now, just trying to get used to it so I can give you guys my honest thoughts about all of these products. And so what happened was, unfortunately, I was sent two brake shafts, and so I don't necessarily have the jump shaft for the jump cue because it is a bigger diameter. Now, both of these shafts, being brake cues, they come in around 12.9, 13 millimeter, and have the exact same profile. Both of them carbon, but I did end up swapping one of the tips on them because Legend has their own proprietary jump brake tip. Now, I cannot remember the name of this, but it is very Caden Fenrir-esque to me. And so just to make it a little bit more different and to see how it plays with some other tips, I installed my own tip on here. I got a nice little pad of linen phenolic as a little line in here, and then there's a Samsara brake tip on there. So through my testing, both with and without the stock tip, it breaks pretty well. Now, I'll get these assembled here in a second, and we'll take some weights. But as far as the rest of the video, I am going to be using a actual jump shaft because being a 13 millimeter tip, I don't necessarily like jumping with that small of a tip. So I'm going to be using one of my other shafts. I'm not going to name it just for the sake of the video, but if you know my channel at least a little bit, you'll know exactly what shaft I'm breaking or jumping with. So that is set off to the side, but I'm assuming that the jump shaft is actually very, very similar to what I have, just a little bit of a different tip. And yeah, let's take some weights and get some measurements on these guys, and I'll kind of explain to you a little bit more about what I think about both of these. All right, now we're going to check for some of the straightness. I really am just kind of looking to see if there's any big visible wobbles in either the shaft or the butt, and then we'll put the full cue together. But these do roll very, very nicely. It looks like they paid very good attention to detail, especially in the joint area. It doesn't look like there's really any wobble coming from there. And then we'll do the other shaft just to see if the consistency is still there. Very, very straight. And just for sake, we'll just move this up a little bit. And any wobble that you do see could just be coming from any weight shifts throughout the shaft. But for the most part, these are rolling pretty darn straight. Very slight wobble in the front of the shaft, but I would say that's within reason and acceptable. And then now we'll just take the brake butt and let's see. There's a slight wobble in the butt cap, but it's just the butt cap. As far as the actual butt goes for itself, it doesn't really look like there's actually any wobble. Just a slight bit in the butt cap. But let's put the brake shaft on here. Hopefully this reaches nicely. And again, only the slightest little wobble in the butt cap, but I'm not seeing nearly anything through the center where the joint is, and I really don't see anything coming from the tip, which is absolutely amazing to see, especially at the price of these. I believe this brake cue is about $285, which is a very good price for a brake cue, especially nowadays. And then we'll just use the other shaft just to see. So it looks like this shaft has a little bit of play in it, just the slightest bit, which is fine, but it also could be coming from a joint alignment because now there is a little bit of wobble coming through the center section. Not terrible, but I have seen a lot worse. And then we're going to take this guy. Now, this doesn't really matter too much on a jump cue, but very, very tiny wobble coming through the center here, and there's really no movement of the tip at the front. So it looks like the one shaft is almost completely perfect, and then the one shaft has the slightest bit of wobble. Yeah, this one, there might be an alignment issue with the joint, which again isn't terrible, but this thing is rolling pretty darn straight. I've seen some carbons really kind of wobble really bad before. And then for the jump cue, we're going to actually put the jump shaft that I'm going to be using for a couple shots in. The tip rolls dead straight. Teeny tiny little wobble through the center, but it could also be the decals that are on this. Rolls very good though. All right, so the first thing we are going to take a measure of is just the brake shaft on the brake cue. So we're going to set the Legend brake cue over here on the side. We'll get a shaft weight, and it's looking at right around 4 ounces on the dot, which is nice to see. Anything heavier, I'd be not too concerned about it, but let's get a weight here on, let's see if we can get this to balance correctly. Wants to roll a little bit. There we go. 14.6, 14.7 is what the weight of the butt is for the brake cue, and then when we put these together, Unilock makes everything nice and quick and fast. When we put this on the scale here, we're coming in at 18.6 is what it looks like. That seems reasonable. And then same thing with this shaft here. This is the tip that I ended up installing myself. It looks pretty sharp. but I wanted a little bit of variety for the video since there were two of them. So should come in exactly at the same weight, 4 ounces, as long as it stays on the scale. So it's nice to see that the shafts are weighing practically the exact same every single time. And then here we're going to take a measurement of this jump handle. Now I will say that I did manage to get some weight out of this to make it a little bit lighter, but the original weight was very, very nice. Now I'm having issues with my scale being perfectly level, so right now this is weighing 5.1 ounces, and then just for the sake of the video we're going to put the other brake shaft from Legend on here, and it gives us around 9.1 ounces. Now I would add about another ounce to this from the weight that I was able to get out of here, but then the shaft that we are going to be using, I'm not going to name it, but with the jump shaft that I will use for the sake of the video, it is coming in around 9.5. Yeah, about 9.5. So those are the weights on these guys. Now we're going to take these, move these off to the side, and let's get the micrometer out and get some measurements of the tip diameter and the joint diameter. All right, so let's take a look, and battery's a little low on this, so we should still be good, but we're going to zero this out every single time. Now let's start with the brake shaft here. So this guy is coming in at 12.87. I believe that's 12.87, so pretty close to the 12.9 is what they specify on the website and the specs for this guy. And then let's just double check the other shaft. So this guy right in at 12.9. So right on the money, both of these are coming in at their correct values. Now it looks like they are conical taper, so as you start coming up through the shaft, it should be increasing. So 13.3 in this section, and then as you come up even a little bit further, this will be an even larger diameter than before. Yeah, 13.8. So both of these are conical tapers. And then as far as the joint size, this should be coming in at standard, which is usually about 0.842. So if I convert this back into inches, this is 21.46, 0.852. So we're coming in at 0.852 on the joint, 0.843. There we go. So 0.843, or if we switch that back over to millimeters, that's 21.4 roughly, which is nice to see. This will fit majority of cues if you want to swap that shaft onto one of your brake shafts. And then let's take a quick measurement of the joint and then a couple things on the handle. So this is a mini unilock handle. So it looks like the mini unilock is, we'll say, it's about 17.6, maybe 18 millimeters in total length for the height of the pin. And then as far as the joint on the actual handle, it is 21.38, which is, again, that 0.842. Then the little groove here in the center for your fingers to do your dart style jump, the size of that is coming in at about 0.598 inches. or if you want to switch that over to millimeters, that's about 15.2 millimeters at the smallest. And it does feel quite nice when jumping with in a dart style. And then at the end of the butt, it does get up to, looks like 25.66 at the largest portion of the handle. We'll set that guy aside and then do the exact same here. Now this is a more traditional sized unilock pin. Every single time we got to zero this out, and then we're just kind of guesstimating here, but it'll be roughly accurate. So this is coming in at about 24.75 millimeters for the length of the pin. And then as far as the joint goes, should be the exact same 0.842 as the previous one. 21.54 millimeters and 0.848 inches, which is always good to see. And then the largest portion of the butt is going to come in a little bit thicker than the jump. It's coming in at 1.24 inches, or if you want to switch it over to millimeters, that is 31.7 millimeters. Feels good in the hand. And that is basically it for the measurements on these guys. All right, so we got the jump cue with a actual jump shaft on here. I just don't want to be trying to jump with a brake shaft and give you my wrong opinion. So with an actual jump shaft on here, I think it's actually very, very good. Again, we're going to be using my KO Brothers chalk for this, just to kind of keep with the Legend brand, because they do sell the KO Brothers chalk on the website, and it's very, very good chalk, especially for brake cues, jump cues, play cues. It does everything that you kind of want to. So we're just going to kind of set this up nice and simple, just trying to make the tube all in. We'll do a couple dart styles, we'll do a couple sidearms, and just kind of get a feel for it. But this is a completely different shaft than what it would come with. This is just one of my personals, just to make sure that I can actually expect to what you would get with the full jump cue, because it would be a 14 millimeter. Both shafts that we did that are Legend are 12.9, so I just want it to be as similar as possible. So this one, we're going to do a little dart style. And honestly, it does not disappoint. I really like having this little center section to kind of poke at it. If we can keep it on the table, that'd be better too. But we'll start moving this in a little bit closer. So this is approximately 2 balls, maybe a ball and a half. Still doing the dart style. Jumps very easily. Oh, and it went. There we go. It is in a weird spot for me to kind of jump, so I'll move this down a little bit. Let me double check that we're still in focus.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
There we go. Gotta make sure we're chalking after each jump. Now, there's no unwanted vibrations that are coming through when jumping either. So now we'll do a couple side arms. Okay, so I am going to be using the Fedorgoris Magic Rack because that's the only Magic Rack I have, and we are going to be doing some 10 ball, and we're going to be using a little bit of a training ball. So we'll get this set up here as best as we can because the spot is actually on the other side, but it's all right. But we're going to start off with 10 ball because 10 ball is a little bit on the tricky side for me, and we'll really find out how good this break cue is because we're going to be doing a couple breaks of 10 ball and a couple breaks of 9 ball. Those are the ones that I want to see how well it's able to generate power, hold spin, and everything. And to only do this video, it's justice, we are going to be using the brand that is also on the Legends website, which is the KO Brothers chalk. It is like a lavender, purple, kind of light gray colored chalk. As for the tip, I don't believe that this is actually a Kaden Fenrir tip because the Kaden Fenrirs, when you scuff them, they have a burnt rubber smell to them. So to me, this is more of a G10 material, which is not bad to see, and you can kind of hear it. G10 has a lot higher pitch tone than I would say the Fenrir tip does, and I do love the Fenrir tip, but this is looking to be kind of designed towards it. We're going to take the jump cue, we're going to set this off here to the side, but let's get a nice break for 10 ball. We're just going to do a head-on break here, actually right off the spot dot. And I'm not putting any of my mid extensions on this either, so we're going to be doing this cue, it's justice, instead of me always putting my mid extensions on, but let's see what we can do. Just going to try and hit center ball. Oh. That's a pretty good break. Feels good in the hand. Accelerating through, even though this is a short cue, it actually feels really good in my hands. So it's actually a really good 10 ball break for me. Usually I don't get that good of a spread, but also my balls are polished, so we might be getting a little bit more action. I'm going to set it up like this. We're going to try and hit this one ball absolutely head on. Just see how much power I can generate. Hit that slightly above center. There was a little bit of top spin. Good break, still didn't make a ball, but it feels really good. And this is a 9-foot table. Center ball with a little bit of top, try and control the cue ball. Maybe even get a little bit of a pop break. It's generating a lot of power. I can say that very comfortably. It's hold and spin. We scratch and make the one ball. Oh. We're going to do a couple 9-ball breaks. So far, this has actually got a really good amount of power, and I don't feel too much coming through the hand. So as far as the vibration coming through the shaft, it's actually holding really, really well. And we're going to do a break that a lot of league players do. I try and do the pro box cut break, but we'll try and hit this from the side because this probably has the most likelihood of actually making a ball. But all right, we made the 2.
And as usual, we're going to be finishing up with some final thoughts. Now, I do want to say that these products were sent to me for free by Legend Billiards, so huge thank you to them for letting me do this video for you guys, but I was able to keep everything after this. All the thoughts at the end here are still my own, so let's get right into that, which is both the jump and brake cue actually performed really, really well. The one downside was that we didn't get the jump shaft. I really would have liked to actually try the jump cue with the jump shaft. Now, the brake cue performed phenomenal. The balance on it and the power that it's able to generate, especially with their proprietary brake jump tip, it works so well. And at the price of $285 for that brake cue, it's a really good price. And the same with the jump cue. It's just we wanted the jump shaft to come with it as well. But $235 for a carbon fiber jump cue is a very good price nowadays, and it jumps really, really easy. The only downsides that we really did have were with the one shaft. The one shaft had a little bit of a wobble, but it was within tolerance. That's perfectly fine. And lastly, the cue case. It is a travel case, and I absolutely loved it. It was probably my favorite out of the three because I put my camera equipment in there. But if you're traveling a lot, this case is going to help you out quite a bit. It can carry so much storage, and it only comes in at $140 off the Legend Billiards website. Legendbilliards.com is where you want to go to check out any of these products. I think a lot of you would actually really enjoy using any of these, especially if you're traveling. I would highly recommend the case. I absolutely love it. Unlimited storage for that guy. Looks a little big and bulky, but you know, if you're carrying around a bunch of cue cases and stuff, you know, it doesn't matter to you. But with all that out of the way, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video. Peace.